Hello, this is World University and Schools live Hangout on Air on Monday, June 17th, 2019. And I'm Scott McLeod. It's San Francisco Bay Area, 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is, I think, 6 p.m. or so, Central Europe. I think one person will join us. And in the meantime, I'd like to share a little bit of news about World University and School. World University and School's next monthly business meeting will be this Saturday. We're postponing it from third Saturday this month due to bringing the academic press at World University and School to Reed College in Portland, Oregon this past 2 Saturdays, June 8th. And in the process of developing both our academic press and bookstore and computer store, as well as the accreditation on the nonprofit wing, we're seeking to develop with students and potentially staff exploring this upcoming autumn for second matriculating class. Hello, Fritz. Nice to see you here. As we develop with the licensing process at Bureau of Private Postsecondary Education, and also as we seek to find the $5,000 in fees to pay the initial licensing fee. So licensing would allow us to then reach out to potential matriculating students, and on the academic press, bookstore, online computer store side, we might be able to develop with a new software technology called platform called Handshake for interns and externs, which both Stanford and Princeton are using, and Reed College and Haverford College, the Quaker school in the Philadelphia area, are also using. I think potential interns and externs can apply for jobs. Students can apply for academically related jobs through Handshake. Fritz, nice to see you here. How are you? And do you have thoughts and questions you want to share in text or in voice? So for this upcoming monthly business meeting, this Saturday, June 22nd, I think, World University and School wants to focus on a number of things. I'm going to lay out a draft agenda here. That the BPPE licensing application draft is basically done as a draft, and now World University and School needs the $5,000 initial fee, which World University and School doesn't have, so the state of California can process this. Item 2, World University and School is going to make a presentation at some point, potentially in the Stanford Wikidata Affinity group, possibly July 2nd. The Wikidata Affinity group is a collaboration between Stanford, Harvard, Cornell, and other great universities based out of Stanford, and which Hilary Thorson is the chair of, a Stanford librarian, and seeks to develop I think, ways of working with Wikidata and linked open data. So Wikidata, Wikibase are Wikimedia's, I'll call them back-end structured knowledge database in 300 languages or so. And linked open data is a way of structuring data around, I think, RDFs, research description format, which are in triplets, which allow for remarkable new approaches to structuring data. And World University and Schools library resources page seeks to develop as a front end, sort of, in the library resources wiki subject page at World University and School is in MediaWiki. And we seek to develop as a backend in Wikidata in its 300 languages. I'm going to see if I can share the library resources page through screen share here now. So this is the library resources page at World University and School. And in an exploring vein, I'm going to see if I can show more of it. I just scrolled down, and at the top are its first section with some courses that anyone can take for free. If one had a course one wanted to teach, one could also add it to this wiki subject page. And there's a course here from Harvard on system design products, and another one, copyright for librarians, at cyber.law.harvard. And potentially there can be courses about Wikidata itself here. And I'm going to scroll down to the second of three sections. I'll call them library resources and a series of related syllabuses, videos. And here you can, or anyone can, wiki add library resources, or libraries themselves add URLs to this wiki subject page. And this page will eventually have become interoperable with Wikidata, Wikibase as a backend structured knowledge database. And that will allow us to add potentially all the libraries in the world, and in all 300 languages, libraries which are open and free and online, and potentially also in World University and Schools' goal of adding 7,111 living languages. So the third section in the library resources page and an all wiki subject page, as I scroll down further, is navigation. And this can lead to academic advising. This is similar on all 725 pages or so of World University and Schools front-end MediaWiki. And at the admissions and at the very bottom are a way to reach the main pages at World University and School, and some templates if you wanted to start your own page. So that's a little bit about the library resources page. I'm going to stop screen sharing right now. And returning to the agenda for this upcoming Saturday, June 22nd, and World University and School's monthly business meeting. World University and School would like to seek collaboration with other universities and sharing collections. And the Harvard Library is currently making 90 million books available to Harvard Library users. That is something World University and School for matriculated students online, first in English, would like to explore. And item 3 on the agenda, which is on the WS Press side, WS Corp side, seeks further to develop our academic press with machine translation in 200 countries and 7,000 languages. And how that would work conceptually is like Google Translate with Unicode. So this would be for STEM and for poetry too. So all kinds of potential publications. And there's an opportunity here potentially for collaboration. This is brainstorming wise with Stanford University Press, which is facing challenges about funding from Stanford University itself, and is facing a deficit of something like $1.7 million from Stanford. And since World University, the WS Press, WS Corp, is a for-profit general stock company, which hasn't started to function yet, but is interested in being in 200 countries, main and official languages for academic books. And since Stanford University Press has all kinds of writers and editors and translators in the pipeline, and potentially has access to something like machine translation as it emerges from Google and Alphabet, vis-a-vis John Hennessy, the chair of Stanford, of Alphabet and former president of Stanford for 16 years. There might be an opportunity to collaborate such that the Stanford University and Press could become oriented around a different legal structure. I'm assuming it's probably a nonprofit right now. And if it were organized as entrepreneurially, then perhaps this could be a growth opportunity for Stanford University Press's academic books to become successful in new ways and in 200 countries and even 7,000 languages. So as a related item in the academic press at World University and School, Larry Velan, the chair of World University and School's recent book on ions, ionic transfer, just as a report from him, has sold about 1,200 copies digitally and about 3 copies on paper. So that is an interesting direction, furthermore, for the academic press at World University and School and our bookstore, in terms of thinking digitally for books, for libraries, for universities, and in the process, World University and School, also with this example of Larry Wieland's book on ions, would seek to carry this book in our nascent bookstore. We would like to make this book available through our bookstore and work with Springer Publication in these regards. So those are some items from the upcoming monthly business meeting, which is open and participatory. Fritz, you're welcome to join this Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and anyone else who observes this video. In addition, I had thought to share the slide presentation for the Stanford Wikidata Affinity group last 5 minutes. That might have been happening tomorrow, Tuesday, June 18th, but it won't. So this World University and Schools Library Resources slide presentation may happen with the Stanford Wikidata Affinity group on July 2nd instead. Stay tuned. Fritz, do you have questions or thoughts you want to share before we bring this hangout to a close? Conversation you want to bring to bear about potentially great. Is there a simple example, Fritz asks in the text chat, of a useful multi-author interactive publishing task? And what are the most eminent barriers to overcome, technically and in terms of content? Great question. What comes to mind immediately is Wikipedia articles. And that is a prime example of multi-author interactive publishing. It's also in at least 200 languages and has a history of about 20 years, sorry. And in the process, Wikipedia has developed this back-end structured knowledge database called Wikidata, Wikibase, which allows for structured query language and much more. And so I think that's a great example. Technically, it's been a big project to develop this software. And also, in terms of content, I think there's been a focus on a neutral point of view and facts, but that is, I think, partially mediated by the different language communities that Wikipedia develops in. I think there's nearly 200 active languages and 300 official languages or so. I don't know of any multi-author interactive book publishing tasks on the scale of Wikipedia, which is kind of modeled on the encyclopedia article. And Fritz further asks, says, great, how to tag with author participant community infos that seem particularly relevant to each specific community. Fritz, when a history is shared in Wikipedia, what is that what you refer to? You can, on any Wikipedia article, you can look at the history of edits. And I think that's a form of tagging author community, author participant community information. But it's based on the individual rather than a community. So how communities develop for related tagging is another set of questions. Can you further clarify your question, Fritz? Or is when an author adds a sentence or makes an edit and their change is saved in the history of Wikipedia, is that representative of a community? So how to guide it, Fritz asks further, how to guide it toward a specific content knowledge direction without creating information overload. If you're asking about a Wikipedia article, I think that standards have emerged for what makes a good Wikipedia article. And an article can also always link to a new article. So concise articles in Wikipedia with specific content knowledge direction can stay concise because a new article can be created by an author, an end user, or anyone, and thus create further information, but not overloading the initial article. I'm using Wikipedia as an example, but I wonder if there would be other examples that might come to your mind, Fritz, in any way, shape, or form. Is Wikipedia a fair example here? So whether World University and Schools, 725 wiki subject pages with a focus on, for example, in one main area at World University and School, academic and I'll call them creative subjects can focus knowledge generation in the same way that even a library just has tens of thousands, millions of books. I think links can be added to any given subject, wiki subject page at World University and School, say green chemistry, the green chemistry wiki subject page. And if too many links have been added, if too many textbooks and syllabi have been added, then a new wiki subject page might be created that might be, similar and related, preventing overload to green chemistry. But how about, industrial chemistry cleanup or something? So Fritz says further, great answer, Scott. Now I think a meta language could help. For example, what is the hyperlink graph that other users have created, followed up on? The enhanced learning experience. Great. I think where meta languages fit into the ability for a writer or an editor to add knowledge and follow up on related subject areas they're writing about is an interesting question. I think people, end users, have to understand meta languages and how to use them in any wiki environment. And that is a helpful focus for those people who know how to use them. I think it opens up another trajectory in multi-author interactive publishing, with Wikipedia as one example, with Wikidata as a backend, and also with World University and Schools subject pages as another example. Fritz writes further, in other words, we should share how other people use Explore the knowledge base, which will make it dynamic experience. Yeah, that's a great idea. And on any given wiki subject page at World University and School, we could add URLs in those regards. In fact, I may create a new sub section or a section in a template to add of meta language resources, so that people who come to these pages could interact with that, could engage meta language questions. Great, Fritz. Yeah, Fritz writes, it's like adding a mind map of other people's actions. It is. It's a fascinating resource. I think with regard to World University and School, distinct from Wikipedia's end users, World University and Schools is planning for universitians, matriculated students, wiki teachers and learners in all 200 countries, and in particular in all 7,000 languages. And in a key moment of coding for making interoperable our front-end MediaWiki World University and School, of which the library resources is one of about 725 pages as examples, with backend Wikidata, Wikibase, World University and School is seeking to develop in explore coding planning for conceptually all 7.5 billion people. So in the sort of you at World University and School, so a matriculated student or a similar university and end user, say Fritz at World University and School or Scott at World University and School, differentially from the usernames in Wikipedia, at World University and School, we may be able to link all 7.5 billion people's mind maps, in a sense, their meta language approaches. So that's an interesting addition. Initially, we're seeking, our second undergraduate matriculated class of 500 people. potentially this autumn or when the licensing process gets further along. Each of those will be matriculated students, undergraduate students. Perhaps in their registration, their matriculation, their signing in, we would be able to create a prototype for adding their contributions to World University and School, their meta-language graphs, individual after individual. I think that's something worth exploring. It will probably, it potentially will happen either in a Google environment or in a Wikipedia wiki data with you at World University and School front end Miraheza Media Wiki environment. So perhaps we'll explore coding that for that. If you would, perhaps we can email it. If you would share an example or two of an individual's mind map or their metadata information or meta language related approaches, whether that be all the links they've looked at in a certain sphere or similar, please do. It would be interesting to get a prototype. I can imagine this getting these becoming very large data sets for individuals. So Fritz writes further, fascinating. Then find similarities of a generic learning progress based on the activated knowledge snippets. It is an exciting idea. One of the directions World University and School would like to build on around the MIT Massachusetts Institute of Technology's OpenCourseWare in its 5 languages, with approximately 2,500 courses in English and possibly 200 or 250 courses in Spanish, Chinese, Korean, and Turkish, is how to study interlingually, how students learn around possibly STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics subjects. So I think these different languages could be considered communities. And you're asking about sort of the knowledge base, which will make a dynamic experience in terms of meta-language and metadata, is very relevant here. But to focus it further, we might pursue developing such an approach in you at World University and School for specific courses. So organic chemistry in English, organic chemistry in Turkish, organic chemistry in Chinese. The books don't translate very directly, so that's a limitation. But we might be able to explore, even in a given project in a single course, some of these questions in very specific ways, and especially in terms of studying interactively and interlingually, how students learn in very new ways, which the umbrella of multilingual World University and School offers. And Fritz writes further, all the ideas may lead to emerging new learning and teaching methods. Yes, I think some initial learning and teaching methods that World University and School wants to build on are threefold, which might influence these metadata questions and mind maps in new ways. The first way that World University and School seeks to build on is with sort of the conference method. Reed College uses the conference method. The conference method includes a conversation between a faculty member and students in the course around serious ideas, and which might relate to also a series of texts and a series of lectures. So lectures are given, and then in conference, students with a faculty member further delve into these ideas. And this allows for the generation of ideas in conversation. And this is all possible in Google Group Video Hangouts or Zoom conferencing. And the second way would be in something like a threads technology, which Harvard Law School Emeritus Professor Charlie Nesson used in his Jury X course, Harvard X, Jury X course, edX course in 2016. And in it, Charlie Nesson gives some video talks about the history of the jury. And then importantly, asynchronously, conversation can emerge around serious ideas in a kind of group text chat, which allows for open-ended knowledge generation and idea sharing. And the asynchronous aspect of this makes it possible to, for students leading busy lives, to engage in conversation with each other, but not in real time. Very useful in this multi-time zoned world. And the third way would be independent study of MIT OpenCourseWare courses, where, for example, graduate student instructors would, in one way or another, play a role in assessing the projects that individual students engage in, say from the MIT OpenCourseWare syllabi and exam questions. So all of these three approaches with any given course would allow for mind mapping of people's actions, and even interlingually, comparison-wise. A course on organic chemistry in English, a course on organic chemistry in Korean with the conference method in Google Group Video Hangouts would create so much data in the videos that would be open for analysis as well, in terms of rigorously studying between languages. The text chat itself becomes a knowledge production site in conversation. Fritz writes, thank you so much for mentioning the conference methods that activate interaction within a group of engaged students on virtual distant locations. Individual studies could perhaps be looked at, filtering specific information to guide a group toward a common goal in a highly efficient way. I think, yes, I agree. And a syllabus is often what focuses that in any specific course. And individual projects in the course of the semester and engaging the syllabus are a further way in the academic setting. differentially from, the multi-authoring of a Wikipedia article. What's amazing to me is in online education, so much data is created in group video hangouts using the conference method, in the group text chat, all of which can become documents and evidence and text for subsequent analysis. The data grows more than exponentially, ginormously, and offers many fascinating directions for individual mind mapping, community through language group mind mapping, and with regard to meta-language and metadata. And Fritz further writes, again, that individual studies could perhaps be looked at filtering specific information to guide a group toward a common goal in a highly efficient way. So I think courses would be World University and Schools' focus with these regards. On the one hand, in multiple languages and comparatively. And on the other hand, on the Wiki side, Wiki editors, universitians at World University and School, with their own You at World University and School username, could develop their individual profiles, and maybe with a focus on metadata, their own specific meta-language, metadata, and potentially mind maps, all in very interesting ways, all to be developed and explored. So thank you so much for your questions and observations and insights, Fritz. This video will be posted to World University and School's YouTube channel. And that is, I'm posting this into the text too. I'll save this text and share it with you. And I think we'll bring this World University and School Live Hangout on air to a close. Monthly business meeting, open participatory for World University and School is this Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific time in Google Group Video Hangout if people are interested. And to find out further information about World University and School, go to twitter.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH. Same with youtube.com/WORLDUNIVANDSCH. And for information, questions, idea sharing, info@worlduniversityandschool.org is the email address. Thank you very much, Fritz, for joining. Fritz further writes, well, yes, exponential growth needs to be reduced to human, manageable, useful filtering of individual goals and team contributions. So to speak, a distributive approach to managing team knowledge and share it efficiently. Yes, great. I think of the Stanford Impact Design class of 2019 presentations on Saturday after the baccalaureate Stanford ceremony in the morning on Saturday. And in many ways, these master's degree students all shared in 15 minutes or so what they had learned in their 2 years, and it was videoed, and that might well be one start, one approach to this in interesting ways. Likewise, Fritz, great pleasure for me as well to have come into conversation. And thank you for joining again. And the next WUaS live hangout on air for open conversation news and updates is this upcoming Monday, June 24th. Look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, Fritz, and look forward to being in touch. Bye for now.